We welcome you to Waco, Texas. A Big 12 battle on ESPN, and it's a senior send-off in the final home game of the season for the Baylor Bears as the number 3 Baylor team hosts the Iowa State Cyclones. There you see Scott Drew, 19th season on the banks of the Brazos, the National Coach of the Year last year with 415 career wins. And there is TJ Otzelberger giving daps to the rest of his crew. TJ in his first season at Iowa State as the head coach, but 3 times an assistant coach in Ames, Iowa. Iowa State's going to be wearing their cardinal red road uniforms in their final game of the regular season. Coming in, winners of 4 of their last 5. They're 7-10 in the Big 12. And Baylor wearing their home gray uniforms today, 25-5 overall, and 13-4 in Big 12 play. Alongside Chris Vitola, I'm Rich Hollenberg, and Chris, that 13-4 record means one thing and one thing only for Baylor. If they win today against Iowa State, they claim at least a share of their 2nd consecutive Big 12 title.
It's pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable what this team has done this season. And they are playing their best basketball, and playing the best basketball being played right now in the Big 12.
Baylor controls the opening tip. That's Adam Flagler, number 10, giving it off. One of the best on-ball defenders in the league, number 22 in red, Gabe Kalsher checking him. Here's Matthew Meyer, one of the seniors. His first shot off the mark. Loose ball, corralled by the freshman Brown, but knocked away and stolen by Tyrese Hunter.
And that was one of the areas TJ Otzelberger really was concerned about, the offensive glass. Baylor crashes hard, and Iowa State has struggled on the glass this year. Fortunate to come up with a steal.
Now 59 steals on the season for the freshman Hunter. A Defensive Player of the Year, National Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And that's an early foul called on James Akinjo. Your officials this afternoon, Rick Crawford, Jeb Hartness, and Amy Bonner. Backdoor, Gabe Kalsher for 2.
You get a lot of movement in this Iowa State offense. They're very deliberate. They're going to play late into that clock, but they lift all those big guys. So you're going to get a lot of those backdoors, Rich. Good to get Kalsher a bucket early in this game.
You see the Baylor starting 5, and that includes the freshman Kendall Brown, but Akinjo and Flagler really make this offense go. 10 on the shot clock. Little junior sky hook a la Magic Johnson.
And that's what those guys do very well. They keep their dribble. When they can improv and get creative, that's when they're at their best, and they are both terrific finishers around the rim, especially off that glass.
Adam Flagler, 16 plus or more, 9 times in Big 12 play. Loose ball, Akinjo's got it. Ooh. And a hard foul at the rim. They're going to count the bucket and give him the foul.
You said it, Rich. Both these guards are the mainframe for this team. They've got the ball in their hands the majority of the time, and they are so dynamic off of the dribble. Flagler in the half court, then you see Akinjo in transition. I mean, just fearless going to the basket. This young man has really come on, James Akinjo.
A Cousy Award finalist for the best point guard in the country. And that rattles out on the 3-point attempt. So it's a 4-2 Baylor lead. There you see the impact that Akinjo and Flagler had, especially in that tough road win in Austin against the Texas Longhorns. Good ball movement by the Cyclones. Tyrese Hunter is a lot of things that are positive, but 3-point shooting is not a strength.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. He has shot it a little bit better percentage-wise in conference play. I think part of that's maturing, but it's the one area where he's going to have to spend a lot of time in the gym this offseason.
Could you imagine being a starting point guard as a freshman in this league, the toughest defensive league in America?
No, and no, A. And B, he's had a lot thrust on him. You know, it's not even just being a freshman point guard. It's being a freshman point guard of a team that has really struggled offensively. And oh, by the way, you got to match up with some other really good guards in this league.
Flagler, the catch and shoot. Off the mark on the baseline, Jay. Jazz Kuntz clears. And here's Isaiah Brockington, the master of the mid-range. Brockington, 1 in red. Now 10 on the shot clock for the Clones. Here's Brockington working on Brown. Thought about the step back, 3 to shoot. Kalsher didn't get it off. A good defensive possession by the Baylor Bears.
Well, they stayed locked in. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Iowa State's going to play late into the clock. You've got to stay disciplined. Baylor switching 1 through 4 on all of that crossing stuff that Iowa State runs. Nice job communicating and staying in the possession.
As of this moment, Kansas and Texas are tied with under a minute to go from Allen Fieldhouse. If Texas pulls off that upset, Baylor could be all alone at the top of the Big 12, and Matt Meyer would like nothing more than to help them do that. Kalsher working on Akinjo. And that's going to stay Iowa State basketball. Matt Meyer showing some three-point range.
Yeah, and really any offense from him is a real bonus. But again, it starts with the penetration, the ball in the hands of either Flagler in that case or Akinjo, creating all that offense for others because of how much attention they attract.
Big man George Condit goes to the bench. And the backup big man Robert Jones in for TJ Otzelberger. Here's Brockington, yet to take a shot in this game. Man. But he does, and he nails his first one from where else? Inside the three-point line.
And then Matthew Meyer steps out. So a good exchange there. You know, Brockington, he's got a neon green light, and as you said, does a lot of his damage from that mid-range. Super confident scorer, had something to say to the Baylor bench after he knocked it down. And playing really, really well over the last handful of games here.
6 times he's won either Big 12 Player of the Week or Newcomer of the Week, and his numbers match up with numbers that are the best in a season in Iowa State history. Brockington again, no, Jones can't follow. Loose ball, who wants it? And a traveling violation called on Iowa State. It'll be Baylor basketball when we return from our first media timeout. The defending Big 12 champs looking to make it back-to-back. They're up 3 against the Cyclones. Baylor University, Iowa State in town for the Big 12 regular season finale for both of these clubs. Baylor up 3 with 15:54 to go, and Baylor playing for something extremely big. If they win today, they will own at least a share of the Big 12 regular season title in back-to-back seasons. Right now, Kansas and Texas are going to overtime at Allen Fieldhouse. If Texas pulls off that upset, then Scott Drew and the Bears could win today in front of their home crowd and own the Big 12 regular season crown outright. There's Scott Drew in his 19th season at the helm. Kendall Brown, the lob, freshman, and Jeremy Sohan with his first bucket.
Well, Baylor has done a nice job playing in the open floor of late, and a lot of it having to do with those freshmen. They are so athletic, so dynamic in transition.
Speaking of freshmen, there's number 11, Tyrese Hunter. Step back, taken away by Sohan. tried to return the favor to his fellow freshman, but Baylor turned it over. Akinjo went for the steal, no dice. And Baylor wants to run again. And Kendall Brown might have gotten away with a little bunny hop there, but a foul gets called by Rick Crawford.
You know, Baylor is, again, this is off of pressure. And if you're going to pick them up, you've got to keep the ball in front of you. Because you give them runouts, and then you allow them to be athletes, particularly on that back end. And that's where, you know, now Kendall Brown at the foul line, that's where I think this Baylor offense, Rich, is taking another jump, especially when they go small. You know, when Flo Thamba goes out of the game and they've got Sohan at the 5, so that's where this team is playing a lot faster, and they're so dynamic when they're out there on the run.
Kendall Brown scored double digits in 7 Big 12 games, and most of those have come in about the last month. A lot of NBA scouts on hand checking out Kendall Brown and Jeremy Sohan. Brown goes 1 for 2, extends the Baylor lead to 6. Kalsher off the mark on the corner, Jay.
It's caught.
And Tyrese Hunter can't finish, and neither can Kalsher. Here's Akinjo. Look at that, Hezzy. And the veteran point guard pulls it back out. He is putting the Iowa State defense on skates.
Yeah, he didn't go anywhere, though.
Right.
I mean, Hezzy and skates are good. He doesn't go anywhere.
Now 5 to shoot. Sohan does, way off the mark. And Thamba, did he get it off? They say he did. First 2 of the game for Flo Thamba, the senior from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kalsher tries again, but Jeb Hartness says he stepped on the sideline out of bounds.
Yeah, it's the offensive glass. It's an area that has really plagued Iowa State, and that one just kind of falls into Thamba's hands. But you know, you send those 3 guys to the offensive glass: Brown, Sohan, and Thamba. It's incredible size, really good athletes. And then the other end, you know, Tyrese Hunter, you got to lay up on a really nice cut, and it's reminiscent of that Oklahoma State game. Just the inability to finish at the basket for Iowa State.
Cyclones 0 for their last 6. And here's Sohan. Spins and can't hit. Nice rebound by Isaiah Brockington, who averages over 7 boards a game. What does Iowa State have to do to get a bucket?
They've had good shots, Rich. You know, it's been the struggle all year. Like, I think TJ Otzelberger is sometimes scratching his head. They run good offense. Guys have to be able to finish. By the way, they're playing against a really good defensive team.
That is true. Here's Kalsher for 3. In and out. Another near miss. Close doesn't count in basketball. Meyer, short on the 3.
I mean, remember, they're coming off a game, Iowa State, where they scored 36 points. Now, I thought it was a typo when I first saw the score.
Brockington, a rare 3-point attempt. And here come the Bears, looking to add to an 8-point lead. And a foul on the floor. Well, coming up at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific over on ESPN and the app. We'll cap the College Hoops Day with a West Coast primetime rivalry game. Number 16 USC taking on number 17 UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. The Trojans have had the Bruins number the last few seasons. So now Akinjo and Thamba, who were on the bench, check back in. And Adam Flagler and Kendall Brown get a rest for Scott Drew. Akinjo, quick release, no good. The follow, blocked, but tapped back in by Sohan.
Another offensive rebound, leading to points.
7-0 Baylor run has pushed the lead to 10 for the Bears. And Thamba just swallowed up Isaiah Brockington. And then he takes a charge. How about the effort of Flo Thamba the last 6 games, ever since Jonathan Chumwa went down with that knee injury? Flo Thamba's really stepped into that major minutes role and produced for them.
Yeah, I think he has sensed the responsibility. When a guy goes down, there's more thrust upon you. The other thing too, Rich, he's playing more minutes. You know, so like if you're a good player, your numbers are going to go up. And they've developed big guys here. I mean, Jerome Tang has done a terrific job developing guys like a Freddie Gillespie. You go back to a Tristan Clark, now with Thamba.
Meyer pulls up and hits. Iowa State struggling to score. Caleb Grill way off the mark on that 3-ball attempt. And we go to a timeout, a 12-point Baylor lead.
And Matthew Meyer on his senior day with the mullet flowing, mullet ski, potatoes at the rim. Little offensive glass action, and then the J. Matthew Meyer's wet on his senior day. Locks flowing in the breeze.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy. It's the one when you gotta get stuff done. Alongside Chris Patola, Rich Hollenberg inside the Farrell Center. These two teams, Baylor and Iowa State, met to open Big 12 play back on January 1st. And it was Baylor the whole way. They never trailed in this game, won it by 5 in Ames. And all you need to know about the Baylor defense was they held Iowa State's offense to 1 for 14 shooting from 3. And today, Baylor has held the Iowa State offense to 0 for 5 from 3.
Yeah, both those teams, very different teams back then. That was a long time ago, so long ago. Tristan Enaruna had 23 and hasn't really played much lately, although he's on the floor now. And of course, a lot of injuries in the interim for Baylor. So both teams very different. And again, I think Baylor's playing the best right now in the Big 12. I think they have found some secret sauce here over the last few games, replacing those holes that they've lost with Chama Chachua and LJ Cryer being out.
How many teams can say that when LJ Cryer was their leading scorer, and you could make the argument that Everyday John was maybe their best defender? Here's Sohan for 3.
I mean, he's just wide open. And I know he's, you know, scouting report says he's not a shooter, but this is Big 12 basketball. You can't just leave somebody that wide open.
Blocked by Meyer. Matt Meyer showing the full repertoire on senior day.
Skip Prosser used to call these shots punt-em threes. He's so open, he could punt it in. I mean, nobody within 15 feet of Jeremy Sohan. And again, he's only 29% from 3 on the season. But you leave a high major player open like that with time, and he's going to come close. And there he buries it.
Here's Akinjo, and he's got a triple. And another timeout call. TJ Otzelberger has seen enough with 10.5 minutes to go in the first half. Baylor has ballooned their lead to 22-4.
And this dude, James Akinjo, is really, again, dynamic off the bounce. They run a lot of under out of bounds for him. And there, Tristan Enaruna, it's just too soft. I mean, you got to be up on that and force him to drive that basketball. Instead, he pulls it right in your face.
Well, here's tonight's primetime game on ABC and the ESPN app. Steph, Clay, and the Warriors are in LA to take on LeBron and the Lakers. Golden State won that last matchup on February 12th by 2. Klay Thompson, 16 in the fourth quarter of that one. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. As of this moment, Kansas up 5 in overtime at Allen Fieldhouse. If they win, they could claim a share of the Big 12 regular season title if Baylor could finish this game off. If Kansas loses, then it's Baylor's all alone with a win today. Akinjo can't make it back-to-back threes. Meyer. And Sohan with another offensive board. They have been dominating on the glass.
Yeah. They're second in the Big 12 in offensive rebounding behind TCU. And I actually think they're starting to become better because I think those freshmen are starting to, really acclimate to the physicality of this league. They're obviously very physically gifted. And they're also realizing if I get to the offensive glass, it's another way in which I can score the basketball.
Well, Jeremy Sohan already 7 points. He had 12 points and 7 boards when these teams met on New Year's Day to open Big 12 regular season play. But he has 8 already this afternoon. And the lead is 23-4. Iowa State desperate for a bucket. Grill, top of the key. And that's his second shot attempt and his second miss from beyond the arc.
And the ball pressure's outstanding. They're blowing up all the crossing actions that Iowa State's trying to run. And then when you are left with an open shot, I mean, Grill was open. And this is a guy who hit 6 threes against Kansas State, but based on the way he has been playing, that was a bit of an outlier. They just have not been able to make perimeter shots.
It's been a 16-0 run for these Baylor Bears. Sohan working on the smaller Caleb Grill. Welcome those of you watching VCU in St. Louis alongside Chris Spatola. I'm Rich Hollenberg. It has been all Baylor in the first half of the first half, Chris. They are dominating right now on an 18-0 run.
Yes, dominating. If you just joined us, 25-4 would be your first indication of that. And it's really been the offensive glass, Rich. I mean, they have absolutely mashed Iowa State on the glass. They've scored off of it. And these two freshmen, Kendall Brown and Jeremy Sohan, have had a terrific first half.
Jaden Walker off the mark from 3. Iowa State's attempted 8 3-pointers already. They have hit 0. Speaking of 0, there's Flo Thamba. Double teamed. Gives it up. Flagler gets fouled by Jones, and Adam Flagler will go to the line and shoot 2. Well, this Baylor team is not very deep because of injuries, but those who are playing extremely well for Scott Drew. The Bears up 23. ESPN, welcome in those of you joining us on ESPN2. From inside the Farrell Center on the campus of Baylor University, it's the Bears with a huge lead over Iowa State. Rich Hollenberg, Chris Spatola, and obviously over on ESPN, it's Duke UNC in the final game of the regular season for those two teams and for Coach K. And you obviously have a long-standing relationship with Coach K, having been on that staff years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I've known him since I was 15 years old. The majority of my life, there I was back when I was a cadet. I owe the man a lot, and I think I had an eye on the festivities today. It's sad. Was on his staff for 7 years, Rich, and it's sad to see him go. He's done so much for the game of basketball. I hope today is everything he hoped it would be, and I hope he gets a good reception. It's crazy. It's crazy that he's leaving the game.
Yep, won a national championship with him back in 2010.
Yeah,
part of that staff.
Yeah, we beat these Baylor Bears in the Elite Eight that year. It was a heck of a game to get to the Final Four.
What would you say your fondest memory is of being on that staff with Coach Mike Krzyzewski?
It was definitely that. You know, that it was winning a national championship in 2010. One of the more memorable games was the Austin Rivers shot over in Chapel Hill. That was, I mean, we had no business winning that game. Those are probably two that stand out. And some USA basketball moments too, Rich. Just some great moments there as well.
Well, a Bronx cheer, if there ever was one, for the Iowa State Cyclones from the Baylor Bear faithful. That's their first bucket in about 8 minutes.
TJ Otzelberger changing up the defense. First look of zone here.
Sohan has had a tremendous first half, but he's off the mark on that one. Another rebound for Isaiah Brockington. The follow by Jones, back-to-back buckets by Robert Jones. Speaking of Isaiah Brockington, Chris Spatola will be unveiling his version of the All-Big 12 team, as well as hand out some hardware. Stay tuned for that.
I mean, you gave away 1/5 of the team by speaking of Brockington. Well, you gave it away.
In my humble estimation, Chris, he is one of two absolute no-brainers, first team All-Big 12. Would you agree?
No question. Yeah. To be honest, I think there's three, but he is absolutely a no-brainer.
Yeah. Sohan out. He has 10 points in the first half, but you're talking about Isaiah Brockington transferring in first season in Ames, averaging almost 18 points and 8 rebounds a game. And Akinjo hits his free throw. He's got 6.
And this offense for Iowa State has needed every bucket. I mean, you know, go to that West Virginia win. I mean, not only does he get the steal, he's got 25. I think it was 25. It was 35 in the second half. I mean, they have needed every basket, every rebound, every ounce of sweat, blood, and tears that Isaiah Brockington has poured out of him.
TJ Otzelberger told us earlier today, and he wasn't joking at all. He said, even a bad shot by Brockington is our best shot sometimes. Nice look. Hunter to Jones, and all of a sudden Robert Jones has back-to-back-to-back baskets for Iowa State.
And a good find by Hunter, and that's another guy who they've needed every ounce of what he's had this year, the freshman.
Weak side rebound to Caleb Grill. And all you can do when your team is down 21 is just chip away. Try to put some bricks together. And that's 4 straight trips with 4 straight baskets by Robert Jones.
And another dime from Tyrese Hunter off of the bounce.
We have a timeout on the floor. Baylor up 31-12 on Iowa State. We're back from Waco in a moment.
Jones there, you know, on the Jones cut, and then look at this dime on the bounce as Jones cuts to the basket. This guy Tyrese Hunter almost had a triple-double earlier in the year against K-State. He was 3 rebounds away from doing that. He's just, you know, again, we said it earlier, has bared a heavy burden this year for this team and has really had a good season.
Averaging over 6 assists a game in his last 4 contests. He's got a few already this afternoon. Under 6 minutes to go. It's been all Baylor in the first half. Looking to clinch a share of the Big 12 title, and it'll be back-to-back Big 12 titles for the Bears. But Kendall Brown wasn't there last year. The freshman making a big impact this year.
Well, and you mentioned Flo Thamba's jump after the injuries. Those 2 freshmen have taken a major leap.
And that one just airmailed by Tyrese Hunter out of bounds. Another Iowa State turnover. That's turnover number 7.
It's amazing. There's really 3 freshmen in this league. That's how old and grizzled this league is. There's 3 freshmen who have really played a lot, made an impact this year. All 3 of them are in this game.
Yeah. Obviously, Tyrese Hunter won, and the combination of Sohan and Kendall Brown trying to help Baylor get back to where they were last year, the mountaintop. And Brown does it again, this time from beyond the arc. So far in this first 15 minutes of play, the dynamic duo of Jeremy Sohan and Kendall Brown have combined for 18 Baylor points. Brockington nowhere to go. Jazz Kuntz can fire away from 3 and he hits.
And he has not shot it well, but I mean, they're desperate for offense, and they've had some open looks. They've had some open threes.
Pull up no good. Meyer can't come away with it. Brockington, foot on the line. And another rebound for Kendall Brown. Another beautiful pass from Brown to Akinjo, back to Brown. That would have been an SC top 10 if he bottomed that one. Here's Jones.
Nice pass.
What a first half for Robert Jones in double digits with 10. That's a season high.
Oh, and Baylor being aggressive off of those ball screens, and that early drag and transition stresses the defense. It's hard to react. Jones doing a nice job rim running, and Hunter finding him again.
Here's Brown in the painted area. Kendall Brown from all over the floor today. Brockington.
Go into him.
Grill, the turnaround, got it to go. First 2 of the game for Caleb Grill.
You know, Brockington had him on the shot fake. He should have just gone into him. Ends up finding Grill on a good find. And again, you know, Grill's got to be that shooter, that specialist for them.
Baylor, the number 9 Kem Pom offense in terms of efficiency, number 11 in terms of defensive efficiency, and they're showing both of them this afternoon. A 19-point lead for the 3rd-ranked Baylor Bears, 2:49 to go. 38-19, your score from Waco. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Thank you very much, Zubin. Here's a game summary in case you missed anything in the first 18 minutes or so. Baylor went on a 29-2 run over 10-plus minutes. Iowa State started just 2 for 17, but since then, Chris, they finally started to chip away a little bit. 7 for their last 9, and most of those have come from Robert Jones,
who's gotten the ball from Tyrese Hunter. You know, I think all of his buckets have come off of Tyrese Hunter assist. You know, this is the thing with Baylor. Like their offense, I think, has made a jump here. I think they are becoming as tough to stop in transition. You know, it was Kansas for that period of time where they just really got after you on the open floor. Baylor is playing really fast. I think it's helped their offense, and then they're defending at a higher level than I think they have. I mean, they just have both ends really, really clicking.
Sohan misses them both. It's funny when you talk about quickness and pace on offense, you think Kansas in the Big 12. They're at their best when they're running downhill. You could say the same about this Baylor team.
Well, in this small lineup they have out there right now, Rich, has been a real find. You know, sometimes with an injury, you find something. And late in the season, that can sometimes, I mean, look, they're better without those guys getting hurt. This small lineup's been good, though.
Another beautiful pass. 5th assist of the half for Tyrese Hunter.
Does such a good job keeping his dribble, keeping his eyes up.
Coming up on 2 minutes to go in the first half, a half dominated by the Baylor Bears. Bonner off the mark on his first shot. And that foul's going to go on Sohan. Coming up tonight, UFC 272. From Las Vegas, the main event featuring the welterweight grudge match between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. The prelims are on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus starting at 8 Eastern, followed by the main card on pay-per-view. To order in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/pay-per-view.
Did you know those guys were at one point really good friends?
Yeah, I've been seeing it.
Something this morning. And then one of them, I don't know which one, became the villain in the whole thing. It was
like almost like a WWE thing. He was going to get dropped from his contract. They said, you can't change your style, change your personality. And all of a sudden, he became a bad guy. That's Colby Covington. No love lost in that one tonight. That's what these Big 12 games feel like sometimes, just hand-to-hand combat. Kalsher leaves it.
Ooh.
Condon slams it and one.
I'll tell you what, they have found their screen roll game. And there's no screen there. That's just, you know, the help coming over. Kendall Brown on the backside is late, and that's how you attack the rim. Nice job there by George Condon, expecting contact and playing through it.
Playing in his 109th game in the Cardinal and Gold of the Iowa State Cyclones. Condit now has 5, and it's a manageable 14-point lead. What was a 21-point lead at one point.
I think TJ Otzelberger switching up the defense. You know, a little zone in the half court. There he picks up after the foul shot. I think it's done a nice job at least stemming the tide. Now they got to rebound consistently.
Condit with the hedge. Akinjo tries to take advantage and throws it out of bounds. 49.4 left and your team's down 14. What do you think the goal is for Iowa State heading into the locker room?
Well, you've got to get a bucket here. I mean, you'd love to get a bucket. Look, if you're at 12, considering where they were, I think you have great momentum going into half.
Condit. That one blocked by Thamba, but they're going to count the basket.
And a nice 2 for 1.
Yeah, the big men for Iowa State are showing up now.
Yeah, they are. And they're just playing off, Rich. They're just doing a nice job hitting up top and then rolling to the rim.
17 points combined by the number 5s for TJ Otzelberger, George Condit, and Robert Jones.
You know, that's where if you're George Condit, you'd love to just step up and take that in the chest, because Kendall Brown's not stopping. I mean, he's not going to slow down. He's going to try to jump over you or go through you.
And free throw is a bit of an issue for Scott Drew's Baylor Bears this afternoon. Brown misses the first one. He'll step to the line for number 2. A 72% free throw shooter this season is Kendall Brown, the freshman from Cottage Grove, Minnesota. Projected on a lot of boards as a first-round NBA draft pick. And he scored the last 8 Baylor points. He's got 11 this afternoon.
His dad is in the building. Saw his dad checking into the hotel yesterday.
Large man, you said.
He's a large man coming down from Minnesota.
Well, the Baylor Bears led by as many as 25 in this first half, but Iowa State has done a good job of cutting into that lead nearly in half. They trail by 13. There's about a 2-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Here's Hunter. Out to Kalsher. Did he get it off? Yes, he did. A big three-pointer as the halftime clock expires, and a little momentum for the Iowa State Cyclones going into the locker room.
This was a terrific set. You end up running Kalsher along the baseline and a really good screen. Look at Caleb Grill. A nice screen in there to get Kalsher the shot, and you said it, Rich. What a finish to the half by Iowa State.
The Cyclones go on a 12-1 run to close the first 20 minutes. They trail by 10 to number 3 Baylor. Coming up, we go to Zubin in the studio. Welcome back to the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. The Baylor Bears are 20 minutes away from clinching a share of the Big 12 regular season title. They lead Iowa State by 10, 39-29. Alongside Chris Spatola, I'm Rich Hollenberg inside the Farrell Center. And Baylor dominated the early part of this game. They led by as much as 25. A lot of that had to do with the work on their glass.
Yeah, the offensive glass. This is the second best offensive rebounding team in the Big 12. It was a real concern coming into the game for TJ Otzelberger, and Baylor went to work, really supplemented their offense early in this game, and they're just outworking with their length and size, outworking Iowa State. And then it was the freshman, Rich. Kendall Brown, Jeremy Sohan, 22 points in that first half combined. They're 8 of 12 from the field. And when Isaiah Brockington is 1 of 6, and Iowa State's offense continues to struggle, it's pretty remarkable they were able to close that half the way they did to cut it to 10.
Credit the freshman point guard for Iowa State, the young man with the ball right now, Tyrese Hunter. He had 7 assists in the first half, and that was a big reason why Iowa State's offense got clicking late. They went on a 12-1 run to get this game to within 10. And there's Gabe Kalsher. He ended the first half with that big triple, and he's got another 2.
And I thought TJ Otzelberger going to zone there on the back end of that half, I thought it stood Baylor up and took them out of their rhythm a little bit.
Brown throws it to the Baylor bench, out of bounds. That's turnover number 5 for the Bears. So believe it or not, Iowa State down 25 at one point, looked like they were going to get run out of the gym. With a bucket here, they could make it a 2-possession ball game. Hunter, blocked by Meyer. Meyer baseline. Akinjo, got it.
You know, there was not a play called there. That was just an early push to the basketball. Then they get into that secondary offense where you get penetration and the ball moving on the perimeter.
Brockington's been harassed by Meyer all afternoon. Kalsher, good hands off the deflection. Here comes Baylor. Akinjo's got that ball on a string. Now Flagler tried the float game, and it came up short, and a foul is called.
This is where Baylor's at their best. Again, I think they're playing a lot better in transition. Iowa State does a good job getting back, but then this is just good 5-man team offense. Ball rotates, and then you get a nice individual play where James Akinjo is so good at getting to his spot and rising up.
Akinjo with 9, Brown 11, Sohan 10. Balanced scoring for the number 3 Baylor Bears. Here's Kalsher, and he is heating up. Gabe Kalsher now in double digits with 10.
Same corner as that 3 he hit to end the first half.
What a reversal we've seen here in Waco. Baylor with the ball, up just 7. Akinjo, the stop and go, and he gets it to drop. He's in double digits with 11.
It's just so shifty and so good with the basketball.
inside. Kalsher again. Gabe Kalsher has a dozen. TJ Altenberger says he's the best defensive player on this Iowa State team, but we forget that at Minnesota, Gabe Kalsher showed he could fill it up a little bit. There's a triple. James Akinjo matching Kalsher shot for shot. Ten to shoot for the Cyclones. Why not, Gabe Kalsher? You are on fire.
And he's moving. He's moving to open space. And you said it, Rich. TJ Altenberger actually said he was the best perimeter defender he's ever coached. And I think at times guarding the other team's best player can take away from his offense at times.
Well, that has not been the case as of recently. He scored the last 12 Cyclone points. But there's an offensive foul called on the freshman Tyrese Hunter.
Akinjo there on the defense, but he feels a game. When a team starts to close in, they need a bucket. James Akinjo goes to work. A little fancy footwork, a little hezzy, tween. Then he pulls up right in your face. He's wet.
This exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. You're looking at some memorable shots from last year's national championship team. They lost 4 key players, did the Baylor Bears. And what have they done? They've come back and are on the verge of repeating as Big 12 regular season champions. But they need a win today against Iowa State to claim a share of that Big 12 title again with the Kansas team who beat Texas in overtime. And you seem to think, Chris Spatola, that Baylor is playing the best basketball in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. You know, look, you win a title and it's got to be one of your best coaching jobs. But what Scott Drew has done this year, coming off a title, I mean, Pat Riley wrote a book called The Disease of Me about how hard it is to win back-to-back. Coming off a title with all the injuries, that they're on the cusp of sharing another Big 12 title is incredible.
3 to shoot. Sohan does. Too strong. Hunter the rebound. Iowa State chipping away. They trail by 8. They've trailed by as many as 25 in the first half. Robert Jones back on the floor. He was a big reason why the team came back, had 10 in the first half. Grill, catch and release, no good. Kendall Brown, another rebound from the weak side. Here's the lob for Brown.
And Scott Drew called that from the side. You know, everybody was watching Akinjo dribble early in that possession. Scott Drew got him organized. What a beautiful set play.
And we've got a foul away from the ball. It's going to be on Jeremy Sohan.
I mean, this is tough to guard because he's a terrific athlete. I mean, he just loops over the top, a little Iverson play over the top, and he rolls all the way to the rim. And with those bigs lifted, nobody there at the basket, and you got a really terrific athlete finishing.
I hear that all the time when we go to practices, the Iverson cut.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
You set those 2 bigs up at the 2 elbows, and what they used to do with Iverson, you run him across that foul line out to the opposite wing, and he'd catch and go one-on-one and do his thing. There, that's a version of it, except now you roll into the basket, and it was not well defended, and it's something you go over in scouting.
Here's Kalsher under his own basket. Isaiah Brockington just 2 points in this contest. If the Cyclones are going to come back in this game, they're going to need #1 in Cardinal.
The official gave Flo Thamba an opportunity to get out of that cylinder, but that's what she ended up calling. And it was the right call.
Thamba's averaged 11 points over the course of the last 6 games, but just 2 against the Cyclones tonight. Here's Brockington. Can't buy a bucket. Isaiah Brockington's 1 for 7 today. Akinjo. Flagler. Yes.
Akinjo is always on balance. He gets into that paint on balance off of 2 feet. What a pass.
13:57 to go. James Akinjo leading the way for the number 3 Bears of 51-38.
Brown has gone to another level. Came in to Baylor out of high school with sort of the reputation as a 3-and-D, but he has really exploded offensively. Incredibly efficient, 59% from the field on the year. He's 5 of 6 in this game. Has hit a 3. Was good in their Texas game earlier in the week, Rich. He's put 2 games together now where his offense has gone to another level.
And you're taking a look at our draft conversations brought to you by State Farm. You mentioned that 3-and-D title. Sure, he might do that at the next level, but to your point, he's showing a lot more than that in this game.
Yeah, look, he's got to become better with the ball in his hands, better at putting it down. That's where you take that 6'8" athletic frame, and then you reach another level. But, I mean, playing a year in this league, and I'm not saying he's leaving, but playing a year in this league, dealing with the physicality and the defenses he's had to face has been really good for him.
He's also a great example of the type of program that Scott Drew has built, getting those 5-star McDonald's All-American type recruits to come to Waco. Jones, what a day for Robert Jones. He has a dozen.
You start to see, or you're seeing, why TJ Otzelberger's been going to him a lot more. And then back to the zone here, out of the timeout.
The lead is 11 for Baylor with the ball coming up on 13 minutes to go. A win, and they share the Big 12 regular season title with the Jayhawks. Here's a lob this time to Sohan, but it's snuffed out by the Cyclones D. And a 3 by Brockington.
You know, turnovers have been a bit of an issue for Baylor today. A little bit sloppy. That was not a good pass by James Akinjo.
Deep 3, Flagler off the mark. Sohan picks it up. Now Kendall Brown left alone. Maybe too much time to think about that one. A bucket, and they make it a 2-possession ball game. No quit in the Cyclones. Brockington, what a move. Back-to-back buckets for Isaiah Brockington.
And he got back to that left hand. Normally when he's got the ball in his right hand, he's doing it to pull up and shoot a jumper. He rarely goes all the way when it's in his right hand. What a strong drive there.
The DeMar DeRozan of college basketball. Everybody raving about DeRozan's ability in the mid-range, and that is exactly what Isaiah Brockington specializes in. Timeout on the floor. It's a 6-point game.
Well, they need this guy. This guy's been one of the real revelations in the league this year. One of its best players. Shows you the 3-ball. And then how about this strong drive baseline? Isaiah Brockington, where have you been all game? He's alive.
You're watching the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy, and we've got a game inside the Farrell Center at Baylor University. The number 3 Bears are up 51-45 on Iowa State, and there's still some things to be ironed out in the Big 12 standings. If Baylor wins, they share the Big 12 regular season title with Kansas. They would be the number 2 seed either way in the Big 12 tournament, but Iowa State A team that went winless in the Big 12 last year, 0-18, has a chance to finish this season 8-10 in Big 12 play. What an accomplishment for TJ Otzelberger and company. Thamba got it, and the foul.
Nice ATO out of the timeout by Scott Drew and Baylor. Good execution, and Brockington comes over late here, and I don't know if he necessarily wanted this. At that point, you know, you might as well get out of the way. But a good finish there through the contact by Thamba.
Well, Flo Thamba has been an offensive revelation of late. 2 times in his first 3 years at Baylor, he scored in double digits. He's done that 4 of his last 6 games, and he now has 5 points today. Here's Brockington with the ball, gives it to Kelscher, mid-post. 10 on the shot clock. Tried to thread the needle to Jones, it goes out of bounds, and with 7 on the shot clock, it'll stay Iowa State basketball. Coming up at 10 Eastern, over on ESPN and the app, we recap the College Hoops Day and finish it off with our West Coast primetime rivalry game. USC taking on UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. There's a big 3 by Iowa State. Jazz Kuntz's second triple of the game.
Forget the Yaz flute. Ron Burgundy needs some Yaz Kuntz.
Baseline 2-pointer by Jeremy Sohan, his first bucket of the second half. Nine minutes gone by in the second half. Iowa State chopping wood. Floater. Wow. Yes, Kelscher.
What a day for Gabe Kelscher.
Foul on the floor. The lead is just 6.
I mean, you said it. He can't score. I mean, this is a guy who had 30 earlier in the year against Memphis. So it's in there. You know, I think he's carried a heavy defensive responsibility this year. Obviously, playing in the Big 12 is an adjustment for anybody. But he has showed you the full arsenal today.
Averaging 9 a game coming in, 16 against these Bears.
And another under out of bounds. Basket for Baylor.
Hunter from deep. Got it! Tyrese Hunter from 3, his first points of the game. Tyrese Hunter with just 3 points, Chris, but he has 10 assists.
Yeah, he's so steady today. Really drove that comeback at the end of the first half.
Akinjo can't answer with a 3 of his own, and that's going to go as a foul on the floor.
He's just another product of today. Rather be the hunter than the prey. Tyrese Hunter, Rich, he's a natural.
Now you know it's a special game. The dulcet tones of Chris Spatola. The only problem for TJ Otzelberger, Gabe Kelscher now on the bench in foul trouble.
Yeah, and they've dealt with that all day.
They tried to get it into Meyer again. It was kicked out of bounds. It'll stay Baylor basketball.
You know, the ability to move the ball, their ability to find open shooters. You're not going to beat this Baylor defense really off of the dribble, particularly when it's set.
Just a 5-point game. Baylor led by as many as 25 in the first half. Akinjo can't get it to go. And the rebound to Condit. Chance to make it a 1-possession ball game. Hunter. The one more. Kuntz. Wide open. Can't knock down the 3. And here comes Akinjo up the left side. Brown, offensive foul on Kendall Brown.
And how about Kuntz? You know, misses a wide open three. It was a big miss. And then makes a defensive play on the other end. And I like that. I think he's moving his feet. I'd call that legal guarding position. And a great anticipation of Brown going to that left hand.
Kuntz receiving some daps on the bench for that play. And TJ Otzelberger is fired up on the sidelines, trying to keep this momentum that Iowa State has wrestled away from the number 3 Baylor Bears. Grill, corner, 3. Yes, sir!
And Baylor went zone, and Iowa State was ready. That corner is wide open against that 1-3-1.
A 2-point ball game. The 7th 3 of the contest for an Iowa State team that couldn't buy a triple in the first half.
And Baylor's rattled. Absolutely rattled. And what a find. You know, you shift this 1-3-1. Look how wide open Grill is. And even Thamba, with his size and length, too slow to get out there.
2-point game. Come on back to Waco. Now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 fans, and we're featuring the Phillips 66 Women's Tournament that starts Thursday. First-round games start at 6:30 Eastern. If you're a Big 12 fan, you gotta have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big12 now. Both the Baylor and Iowa State women's teams in the top 10 in the nation heading to Kansas City, as will we be next week. How about these Cyclones, Chris? 73% shooting in the second half. Almost an and one for Isaiah Brockington, who will go to the line and shoot 2.
Well, the big reason for that, Rich, is they have 19 assists on the 24 field goals. You know, again, the ball has moved. They've shifted this Baylor defense, and they've got multiple guys today to make shots. Kalshin's been good. Robert Jones has been good. Tyrese Hunter has really driven the entire show.
Here's the southpaw Brockington, makes his first free throw of the contest. And they're doing it with Isaiah Brockington only contributing 8 points. He's usually an 18-point-a-game scorer. No easy outs in the Big 12. And we are knotted up at 58. First time this game has been tied since it was 2-2. Eight minutes to go. Akinjo lost it. Here comes Brockington in the open floor. Grill to Kuntz. Iowa State's got the lead.
The zone has been problematic for Baylor, and it has allowed, on those turnovers, they've been able to run out of it. Iowa State's been able to run out of the zone.
Flagler got it, and Baylor's back on top.
Big shot. You know, I don't know if you can get a steady diet of those deep ones to kill this zone, but that was a big shot.
Grill aggressive with the 3, and Brown rebounds. Almost an and one opportunity for James Akinjo, who will go to the line and shoot 2. A 1-point game. Number 3 Baylor looking for a share of the Big 12 crown, but they're getting all they can handle from TJ Otzelberger's Cyclones. Game in Durham, close game here in Waco. Number 3 Baylor led by 25 in the first half, but Iowa State has come all the way back. They took the lead, if only momentarily, but Baylor has a 1-point lead, 61-60, 7:02 to go. Rich Hollenberg, Chris Spatola. The Baylor Bears, with a win, will share the Big 12 regular season title with the Kansas Jayhawks, who escaped with an overtime victory in front of their home crowd at Allen Fieldhouse against the Texas Longhorns about an hour ago. Kinjo 1 for 2. He has 15.
And Rich, no Gabe Kalsher for Iowa State. He's got 4 fouls.
No call. Akinjo hits the deck. Good hands by Brown. 10 to shoot for the Cyclones. Coots. The follow. Condit. And a weak side offensive rebound, something that was missing in the first half from Iowa State, is now helping them in the second half.
These 2 bigs for Iowa State have given them really good minutes today. You know, really dominated on the offensive glass early in this game. Iowa State's done a much better job at the end of the first half and in the second half on that. And these 2 bigs have done a nice job just playing off of these perimeter guys for Iowa State.
When was the last time an Iowa State team could say they got 19 points from their 5 spot? That's what Jones and Condit have combined for. Now make it 20 with that free throw from George Condit. He has 8. Condit cans them both. Tied again at 62, 6:33 to go. Iowa State looking for their improbable 8th win in league play. They were picked 10th in this league at the beginning of the season. Meyer, 3. Too strong.
I mean, the zone has forced a lot of perimeter shots. Baylor really having a hard time getting inside the zone. And I think over here, Kinjo, that penetration's got to go deeper.
Now Scott Drew calling for the Baylor crowd to help him out. And that foul is going to be on the floor on Baylor. It'll stay Iowa State basketball. That's the foul on Flo Thamba.
You know, the other thing that the zone has done to Scott Drew's team, it's taken the improvisation, the creativity off of the dribble away from Akinjo and Flagler. And so you're getting other guys having to take some shots, and even the shots that Akinjo's taken have been tough shots.
Brockington in and out.
Man.
That's the first miss from the free throw line for an Iowa State team that's gone 5 for 5 before that. Both teams in the bonus. There'll be more free throws to come. Sohan showed the 3 and threw it away. Walker with the hammer pass.
Yeah.
Brockington too strong on the corner 3.
What a great look.
Now Walker tasked with guarding James Akinjo.
His length has bothered him.
Yeah. Akinjo to Meyer. And it falls off. They leave it for Jones. Blocked by Kendall Brown. My goodness.
Ooh. That's a big-time block. Well timed by the freshman. Says Ma, the meatloaf. What a denial.
Kendall Brown has shown a little bit of everything in his bag today. 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. And now he's got a block to go along with all of that. Again, the first time these teams met, it was in the Big 12 regular season opener on New Year's Day. LJ Cryer was still playing. Everyday John was still playing. They weren't asking much from their freshmen. They are now, Chris, and they're delivering.
Yeah, they sure are. They're playing like sophomores. By this point in the season, he's one of those guys who's out, LJ Cryer. And that was a big miss. I mean, we've seen some big misses at the foul line by both of these teams, and then a bad foul that allows Iowa State to march down to the other end and take free throws themselves.
To your point, Chris, Baylor just 9 for 17 from the free throw line today. But Condit lets him off the hook. A deep 3 by Akinjo, too strong. And the smallest player on the floor, Tyrese Hunter, skies for that two-hand rebound. Tie game, under 4 minutes to go from Waco. Kelcher continues his offensive revelation.
And with 4 fouls, TJ Otzelberger goes back to him. And Baylor has been just content to kind of toss it back and forth here and settle for deep threes. Ooh.
And finally a 3 goes down after what had been a long drought for James Akinjo. He leads all scorers with 18, and we have a timeout on the floor. 3:34 to go. That's what stands between the Baylor Bears and a Big 12 championship. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. It's the one when you gotta get stuff done. Thanks, KC. A big reason why Iowa State has come back in this game and trails by just 1. The play in the second half of Gabe Kelcher.
Yeah. I mean, what's remarkable, he had 3 points combined in their last 2 games. He's fouled out in both of those games. And here he is today, and they've needed him because Brockington's been better in this second half, but he has not been vintage Isaiah Brockington. They have needed Gabe Kelcher's offense.
Thamba misses the front end, but a big offensive rebound by Kendall Brown, his 9th on the day.
Tell you what, some big missed free throws in this game.
Akinjo found a seam. $20 for Akinjo. Kelcher left alone. Too strong that time. Sohan the rebound.
Good execution. It's a good look.
Nine quad 1 wins for these Cyclones. Number 10 would be humongous. Akinjo. Brown from the elbow.
You know, that's the thing, Rich. off of a miss. Iowa State's coming back in a man, and Baylor has been much better playing against their man defense versus that zone.
Why do you think TJ Altenberger would switch it up again?
I just think they're more organized coming back off of a miss. They've been making shots, and so they've been able to set that zone. But here, this penetration from Akinjo against the man, it breaks down that defense, and a nice job by Kendall Brown. A smart play, moving to the open spot and knocking down a tough shot.
What a dynamite game for James Akinjo. The Cousy Award finalist has 20 points and 6 assists. A 7-0 Baylor run over the last minute and 10 seconds has extended their lead back to 5, due in large part to James Akinjo, the transfer from Arizona, having one of his best Big 12 games of the season.
Yeah, he should be first team all Big 12. He is for me. I mean, he leads the league in assists. He's top 10 in scoring, and he's really been their late game guy.
Here's Brockington, harassed by Brown. Hunter almost slipped. 5 to shoot. Brockington does. Way off the mark on that 3. But an offensive rebound by Robert Jones. Kelscher.
That was a big-time defensive possession.
And now with $1:40 to go, Baylor has wrestled back at least some of that momentum. Akinjo, offensive rebound by Thamba, and he'll go to the line.
You know, Baylor just feels the moment, and what's remarkable is this is who they were last year. They lost 4 of those starters, and yet culturally, they hit timely shots. They come up with timely offensive rebounds. I mean, they were so good late in games. I mean, TJ Otzelberger was saying that to us earlier today. He's like, when they need a basket, they seem to hit it right at the exact spot.
Thamba hits the first. You know, earlier today, Scott Drew was telling us he had a 4-star general, Paul Funk, come and address the team. And we said, what was the main message that he gave your team? He said, attention to detail is of paramount importance. And it's those details that have gotten Baylor back on top. And they lead by 6 with 1:33 to go after the 2 free throws from Flo Flamba. What a tough 2 by Isaiah Brockington.
And a must-have bucket. Nice drive there to his left hand. Back in the zone. You got plenty of time. You play to a stop here.
1 minute left in regulation. If Baylor wins, they claim a share of the Big 12 title. And too strong, the long rebound to Kelscher. He went down, but no whistle. And now possession arrow is going to go to the Baylor Bears.
I mean, that's got to be something. How is there no call there? Like, I thought it was a foul live, but then, I mean, is there a flop if it's not? That's a foul. And it's right in front of the official. He's standing right there.
Matthew Meyer checks back in for Scott Drew.
And now you got to be aggressive early here, but you also, you know, you're going to have to look at fouling. That's how big that non-call was.
5-point Baylor lead with the ball. 46.1 seconds left, and to your point, Caleb Grill commits the foul almost immediately.
They're down 5 points. You got a chance to cut this to 1 possession. And this is an easy call. Look at where that official is standing. I mean, he's looking right at it.
Adam Flagler shooting 2. He has 10, now 11 in this contest. And now some offense for defense substituting by Scott Drew as Meyer goes to the bench and Sohan comes back on. In and out. Still a 2-possession ball game.
Gotta go.
Hunter tried it himself, no good. Another rebound for Kendall Brown. And with that rebound, Kendall Brown has himself a double-double. 15 points, 10 rebounds for the sensational freshman, number 2 in gray. Brown front rims the first free throw. Charity stripe not kind to the Baylor Bears in this game. Jones out, Grill on for his 3-point shooting with TJ Alzberger's club. Second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. A 7-point Baylor lead. Looking to hold off a game Iowa State club. Wow. And that ball goes over the backboard and out of bounds.
You know, Baylor just closed shop. You know, like Iowa State fought, man, and you got to give them a lot of credit. They were down 25 in this game. Closed the first half well and really fought, would never go away. And the heart of a champion in Baylor just rose up in the last couple minutes of this thing. And they just snatched it. They're going to share a Big 12 title.
They trap Flagler in the corner and commit the foul. Adam Flagler will go back to the line. Now 7 points with 17 and a half to go. It seems like it's academic at this point. We've seen stranger things happen.
We have.
These teams will be heading to Kansas City on Wednesday. Both will be playing on Thursday. Baylor will go in as the number 2 seed. And they'll be playing the Oklahoma Sooners in that quarterfinal game.
There goes Flo Thamba. You know, Flo Thamba's sister Emma is here today for senior day. He hasn't seen her in 10 years. She lives in London. What a cool moment for him today on senior day.
And Flagler all but salts it away. Baylor will share the Big 12 regular season championship with the Kansas Jayhawks. The first time a team has won back-to-back regular season titles not named Kansas in over 19 years. The Iowa State Cyclones did that in 2000 and 2001. And now the Baylor Bears are 6.6 seconds away from claiming their second consecutive Big 12 regular season championship. But Chris, we all know they have bigger plans that lie ahead.
You know, I'll tell you what, we were talking earlier about when I was at Duke, we won a national championship in 2010, and we came back in 2011, Rich, and we had a team that was capable of winning it again. But things happen, you know, it's hard to repeat. That's why it isn't done very often. You know, Kyrie Irving goes down after 8 games. He's gone pretty much for the rest of the year. some guys come back and they've got more expectations and they don't play as well as they did the year prior. And you've got a massive target on your back. And Baylor has dealt with that all year. All the adversity, the injuries, all new personnel. I mean, they replaced 4 starters. What a job Scott Drew and his staff have done. What a job these players have done to come back off a national championship and to have the year they've had.
Well, this game ended up being so exciting in the second half, we didn't end up getting to it. But I know in terms of awards, and that's not what these teams are playing for, individual awards, you chose Scott Drew as your Big 12 Coach of the Year.
I did. He deserves it. And that's no slight to anybody else. This league, I think, is the best coached league in the country. I'm not saying that because we're doing this game, but that man, Scott Drew, has done a phenomenal job with this team.
Mark Adams at Texas Tech with all that turnover. TJ Otzelberger resuscitating an 0-18 team from a year ago. But Scott Drew back on top for the second straight year. The Baylor Bears can claim themselves Big 12 regular season champions, and the Hall of Famer Homer Drew on hand in Waco to take it all in.
This Baylor team is playing the best basketball right now in the Big 12, and they keep getting better. Those freshmen have given them a tremendous lift. I think Akinjo and Flagler are starting to figure out the world without L.J. Cryer. This team is going to be a problem the balance of the season.
Well, the confetti falls inside the Farrell Center, but there are bigger designs for this Baylor team trying to defend their national championship. They'll be a #2 seed in the Big 12 tournament coming up in Kansas City. Mr. Spatola, I look forward to seeing you there.
Let's do it.
For Chris Spatola and everybody here at ESPN, I'm Rich Hollenberg saying so long from Waco. The Bears are Big 12 national champions alongside the Kansas Jayhawks. Now we send you back to the studio. Kevin Connors, Dallin Cuff, and John Crispin.